very, very warm. She says holding a coffee. It's actually not that hot, this coffee, because I left it out for a while. But welcome to part 2 of a 24-hour readathon. I need to double check the timer, but I know I've just got over 13 hours left. So we'll see. Still reading the same books, and I've got a library book which you just saw in the intro. But I'm sat out here eating my breakfast. And it's a slow start. Okay, here in the UK we're trying to survive 32 plus degree heat right now. And sorry for the noise, I have got a fan on. The lighting's terrible because I've got the blind all the way down. But I'm trying to survive a heat wave. And I think in some places it's 36. Thank God we're not that bad, but potentially it could get that bad in the next couple of days. Meantime, whilst I've been trying not to fall asleep this afternoon, I'm on page 110. The bickering between those two is hilarious. And I want a pet raven. I want a pet raven that behaves like a parrot. That's all I'm going to say with this book so far. I'm really enjoying it. I've still got a long way to go, though. Okay. Who knows, this angle's rubbish. But I might actually fall asleep. So, hey ho. I'm wearing my nightie. I'm not naked. I'm just saying. Anyway. Besides the point, this is so good. If you like cozy, witchy books with elements of fantasy, I would recommend this. Bearing in mind, I'm on page 125, and the timer is at 12 hours and 41 minutes, roughly. So I'm close to hitting the 12-hour mark, which is really reassuring. There's the idea of falling in love, but a witch can't fall in love unless it's her her true spiritual connection. But not many people believe in it because not many people believe that witches are actually real. And I mean, you only have to think about history to understand that Cleo, her sister, her cousin, her aunt are trying their best to conceal their true identities as witches as possible, because you only have to answer the question, what happened to witches literally in history, or accused of being a witch? They were just women. They were just women, and they were accused of being a witch. Like, you could own a cat. Like, if we were in that specific time period, still now, myself and my mum could be called witches, and my brother could even be kind of like embedding. That's not the right word. Basically assisting a witch. That's the word I was looking for. So it does bring up kind of like the history of kind of like actions towards women. And in this, I've got a funny feeling this is set in the Victorian era. And even then, it's still being talked about, kind of like saying we have to keep our true identity secret, and what happens if they do know? Will they keep their secret? That kind of thing. So yeah. And there's one bit here where Cleo Blair, which is the main heroine we're following, she basically said she keeps having these impulses of uncontrolled emotion. Basically, she's falling in love. She's falling in love with Thomas Gray, basically, but he's technically Lieutenant Gray. And she doesn't want to believe it, even though deep down she probably does believe it. She froze mid-step because the inconsequential misfiring of magic was happening again. Wind blew down the street, catching her skirts and throwing them around her ankles as the vision swept into another place, another time. So, normally it only happens with the dead, but she can basically see the dead's past. However, she is experiencing seeing Thomas Gray's past, and she's not sure why. I can't wait until she actually realises that this spiritual connection is actually true, because it's obvious. Good morning, Miss Coco. Good morning. Hello, darling. Good morning, Miss Coco. Look at you, beautiful. Well, well, well. This has taken a lot longer to finish than I expected. I started filming this, I'm just looking at my computer screen as I'm editing this, part 2 of the 24-hour readathon. Part 2 started filming on the 22nd of June. It is now the 7th of July, and the timer has literally just gone off this afternoon. So, at the end of this long 24 hours via the timer, I have read 3.5 books, which actually isn't bad for me. And yes, okay, the majority of books that I finished were audiobooks, but hey, audiobooks are still books, just saying. So I read, I can't remember what this one was called, but I read book number 4 in the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman, or Osman if you're in the US. Still don't understand why it's pronounced Osman, but okay. The Happy Land Killers or Murders, that was a true crime book about a 1990s arson fire where like at least 80 plus people were killed in this fire, and it was all like a lover's revenge on a girl who worked at the nightclub, which is just madness when you think about it. I'm trying to remember the third book. From the top of my head, I can't remember the third book. I will stick the title on the screen. And the book that I've just got halfway through reading is I Let Him Go by, oh my god, I can't remember her name. I know it's Denise Bolger because it's her account of retelling kind of her life, even before the birth of James to that fateful day when James was taken from that shopping centre and was killed by 2 10-year-olds. I can't remember her. I want to say Fergus. I think it's something like Fergus. That's her married name. This book that I'm currently reading, it's out at the library. It's on audio. It was published in 2023. And I find it weird that I'm reading it 3 years later, but okay, fine. I suspect that she wants to get her version of events out in her own words, her own feelings, because currently researching this, her former husband has a book out, and it's following his... Actually, I could probably read part of the blurb if I remember correctly. It had a number. With me a minute. I'm just going back. Yes, here we go. So Ralph Bolger, and that's James Bolger's father, has a book out, and he released that book 13 years ago. He released it in 2013. 2013. Oh my god. 2013. And basically it says, it's quite a short blurb. In my James, Bolger pays tribute to his son, a bright, joyful boy whose untimely death never dimmed his memory. What can you say to that? And actually, I might read. If that is available on audio, I might read it. Just to see another perspective, but there was like so many perspectives that I wasn't even aware of. And to be honest, why wouldn't I be? One, I wasn't even alive when this happened. Two, yes, there was a lot of, at the time in the 90s, there was a lot of privacy that was breached for this family because this was so shocking. 2 10-year-olds killing a 2-year-old. And it still is. It very much still is. I mean, Denise comments on the fact that even to this day, decades later, there's a local Liverpudlian family who every anniversary sends money to a local florist and asks them to make up a bouquet for James Bolger's grave. I mean, this shocked Liverpool like the Hillsborough disaster. That's the one thing that I can remember. I say I remember like I lived that for that time. I didn't. I just happened to had to research the 80s Hillsborough disaster in an English class, and then I kind of got not obsessed, but I kind of got fascinated with it, and I was like, wait, what? And those victims still haven't got justice. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, and this is making me crazy. Anyway, moving on. Back to the readathon. That's the whole point what we're doing is reading. Oh my god. I just want to say that yesterday was 32. It is now 30-degree heat. Yes, we got a breeze, but it's still freaking hot. Anyway, I digress. So, basically, at the end of this timed 24 hours, I didn't do this straight. And like I said before in part 1, I believe, I can't do it straight, otherwise I'll make myself ill. Then again, I may do another version of this where I try and see how long I can read before I sleep. That would be worth doing, I think, especially because this heat's going to not cease, put it that much. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for bearing with me with this 24-hour readathon. Sorry I had to do it in 2 parts, but it's just the way things work out like that. Yeah, I hope you've read some of the books that I read during this readathon. The library book that I talked about in the previous clip, I am still reading that. I need to get back reading that. I'm still very much enjoying it. Life has just got crazy busy, which is a good thing. But I need to cope with the busyness of life, plus make time for self-care, to look after myself, to make time for those reading moments. Hence why I read a lot of audiobooks, because life just gets busy. And I'm looking at ways on whether to actually finish a full poetry collection series which I've written, which, if you don't know, I write poetry mainly. It's pretty much all available on Amazon, but I'm trying to steer away from that right now. And I'm hopefully going to do an audiobook at some point in the future. Not in the near future, sadly, because it is really expensive to do audiobooks. But I do want to do one. Anyway, thank you so much for bearing with me and bearing with my rambles. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Comment down below what books you are currently reading. And I will see you in another video. Bye.